Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. And if that bridge is weak, your future will never arrive. It doesn't matter how big your plans are, how beautiful your goals look on paper, or how many people you impress with your talk. If discipline is missing, everything collapses the moment real life shows up. Discipline is not just a word. It is the iron spine of success. It is the quiet soldier behind every legend. It is the invisible thread tying desire to outcome, hunger to harvest, and pain to power. And if you can learn to master it not once, not temporarily, but every single day, your life will transform in ways you can barely imagine. So let me ask you something. How much longer will you let emotion decide your actions? How many more mornings will you ignore your commitments just because your feelings weren't in the mood? Because every time you choose comfort over courage, convenience over commitment, you're not just wasting a moment, you are sabotaging your destiny. We're not here to play small, not here to stay mediocre, not here to keep reliving the same weak patterns, hoping life somehow gets easier. No, we are here to master ourselves, to build a mind so sharp it slices through doubt, to create habits so strong they don't just change our days, they change our character. You want to improve your life? Fix your discipline. You want to think like a millionaire, act like a leader, perform like a champion? Then you better get serious about how you wake up, how you speak to yourself, how you train your emotions, and how you conquer those invisible moments no one claps for, but everything depends on. Discipline is earned, not inherited. It doesn't care where you come from. It doesn't care what you've been through. It only responds to one thing, your decision to be greater than your excuses. And make no mistake, the world will tempt you every single day to drift, to scroll instead of focus, to quit instead of persist, to pretend instead of prepare. But every time you resist that temptation, every time you choose power over passivity, your will grows sharper. Your identity strengthens. Your confidence compounds. This is how discipline works. It multiplies, not just in results, but in self-respect. And let me tell you, nothing feels better than living in alignment with your highest self. That is the real wealth. That is the deep, calm knowing that you are not a slave to impulse, but a master of intention. Now, discipline isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't boast. It whispers. It shows up quietly when you'd rather sleep. It nudges you toward your goals when your friends are wasting time. It reminds you, this is who you said you'd be, and it holds you to it. Let's talk about that voice, the one inside you that knows what needs to be done. That voice doesn't lie. That voice is sacred. And your job is to protect it not with talk, not with dreams, but with decisions. Daily, relentlessly, courageously. Most people think discipline is punishment. But I'll tell you the truth. The real punishment is the regret of an undisciplined life. The pain of waking up 10 years from now and realizing you let your potential rust because you couldn't say no to short-term pleasure. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. And the only people who fear it are the ones who've never tasted the dignity it gives. Because the moment you start doing what you said you'd do, especially when you don't feel like it, you step into a new version of yourself. The version that keeps promises, that earns respect, that builds momentum. And momentum, momentum is sacred. Once you get it, protect it like gold. Because momentum, once broken, takes pain to rebuild. Discipline builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. Identity builds destiny. You want wealth? It starts with discipline. You want health? Discipline. Relationships? Discipline. Time, freedom, you guessed it, discipline. You don't need more motivation, you need more commitment. Motivation comes and goes, but commitment stays. It stays on cold mornings. It stays when you fail. It stays when no one is watching. And that's what separates the extraordinary from the average, not talent, not luck, but consistent discipline when it's hardest to give. Every legend you admire had one thing in common. They built their life around systems, not moods. They didn't wait to feel like it. They built the habit until it didn't matter how they felt. They trained discipline like a muscle. And so must you. Now let me give it to you straight. There will be days you don't feel like showing up. There will be voices in your head begging you to take the easy way out. And on those days, remember this: the easy way is the enemy. The shortcut is the lie. Because while the shortcut may give you the illusion of progress, it robs you of the transformation earned only through discipline. Your character is not built on the days you win. It's built on the days you push through resistance. That's where the magic is, in the repetition, the boring grind, the invisible battles. Discipline is repetition in the presence of resistance. Write that down. Remember it. Tattoo it into your daily routine. Because there will come a moment, and it always comes, where you will be tempted to break your standards. You'll want to negotiate with your goals. But let me be clear, you don't negotiate with destiny. You rise to meet it. The undisciplined life is filled with drama, distraction, and delay. But the disciplined life is clean, focused, quiet, powerful. It doesn't need applause because it lives in purpose. And when you live in purpose, every day becomes a vote for who you are becoming. And you are becoming someone unstoppable. Someone who trains not just the body, but the will. Someone who speaks with intention, walks with clarity, and acts with conviction. Someone who doesn't just set goals, but executes them. Someone who doesn't blame, but builds. Who doesn't excuse, but endures. Discipline is doing what needs to be done long after the mood you set it in has left. So decide, right here, right now, that your life will be led by decisions, not by default. That you will show up not just when it's convenient, but when it's required. That you will honor your standards more than your feelings. Because once you do that, you become dangerous not to others, but to the old version of yourself. And that's the version we're here to bury. The lazy you, the reactive you, the one who waited, who wavered, who played small. Bury it. Because every day you live with discipline, you rise from the ashes of who you were and step into who you're meant to be. This is just the beginning. And I promise you, if you build the discipline, the results will follow. But more than that, the self-respect will follow. And that's the real reward. Now let's go deeper. You were not born undisciplined. You were conditioned to settle, conditioned to react, conditioned to wait for inspiration, like it's some magical cloud that's going to float in and change everything. But let me tell you the truth. Inspiration is unreliable. Commitment isn't. And discipline is commitment in motion. The strongest people you admire, they weren't built in inspiration. They were built in repetition, in silence. In those lonely hours when no one clapped, when no one texted, keep going, when the world moved on and they chose to keep building anyway. You see, you become unstoppable not because you're fearless, but because you've trained yourself to act in spite of fear. And the tool you use to do that is discipline. Let me tell you something personal. There was a time when I thought I needed to feel right to act. I'd wait until I had the right energy, the right mood, the right music, the right morning. But days became weeks, and weeks became excuses. And I woke up one day asking, what am I waiting for? That question changed everything. Because the truth is, the warrior doesn't wait. The builder doesn't wait. The disciplined mind doesn't beg for better weather. It builds the fire in the rain. So if you want to win in this life, really win, you have to learn how to suffer well, to sacrifice now so you can rejoice later. And that, my friend, takes discipline. Do you know what discipline really is? It's love. It's self-respect in action. It's saying, I love my future enough to fight for it today. Discipline is not some cold, robotic drill sergeant barking orders at your soul. It's the highest form of compassion because it saves you from the pain of regret. It saves you from mediocrity. It saves you from waking up decades from now and realizing you betrayed your own potential because comfort seduced you. And let me tell you, comfort is a liar. It disguises itself as peace, but it robs you of progress. It tells you you're fine when you're not. It whispers, just a little longer, while it tightens its grip on your ambition.